and how we can sensitize children, especially at the adolescent age, because they are the future citizens, and then they are the ones who are going to decide how the society would run, and how people, whether male or female, would interact with each other, how we would behave with each other, how combinedly we would take our nation towards the development and all this. So education plays a very key role in sensitizing either a boy or a girl towards the necessities, towards the attitudes, and towards the way they have to behave to with the gender of the other opposite gender. Okay, so today I'm dealing with this thing, that is gender sensitization through education. Now before we begin, I would just take up an activity here. I'm going to introduce three individuals. You will have to just listen carefully, and then all of you have to just name each of these three. Okay, and then later we will just take one or two of the participants and see what names have been given to these individuals. Now the first individuals I'm introducing here is a high school basketball coach who is aged 26, and then he played basketball, he or she played basketball in high school and also in college, majored in physical education, and also this individual likes to play the piano and also likes to paint. Okay, so this is the introduction given about the first individual here. I want you to give this individual a name. Okay, just write down, or you can just think of it and then keep it. Now the second individual I'm naming here, you have to name, is an architect who is 32 years old, who is married and is with two children. This person likes skiing and skating, spends occasional weekends in hill station, and likes to read detective novels very extensively. Okay, so just think of a name and name this person here. Now I'm moving to the third individual, who is a homemaker with beautiful long hair and knows cooking very well, and is also very caring about children. Okay, so these are the three individuals. Can one of you tell me the names you have given to the first, second, and the third person here? Any one of you. What is the name you have given to the first person here?
Sports coach, ma'am.
Yeah, the basketball coach. What is the name you have given? One of you can just unmute yourself and then tell me what is the name you have given to this first person. ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನ್ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ?
Physical education instructor, ma'am.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡಿ. Name him.
Rahul, ma'am.
Okay, so the first individual is named Rahul by Dr. Raj Shekhar. Okay, now the second individual, as we read, who is an architect and 32 years old, who is married with two children, and then likes skiing and skating, and spends time occasionally at hill stations, reads novels.
Preeti.
What is the name?
Her name is Preeti.
Preeti. Okay. Yeah. We have a third individual who is a homemaker with beautiful long hair and cooks well and is very caring about children. What is the name you have given?
Lakshmi, ma'am.
I could not get the name.
Ma'am, Lakshmi.
Lakshmi. Okay. Now, if we just go through the names we have given here, nowhere we were told that whether it is a male or whether it is a female, right? But as soon as we saw that there is somebody who is playing basketball, and then who is somebody from the field of physical education, automatically we thought of a name, and then we named a male there, right? And then the second one, maybe you saw the thing that the individual is married with 2 children and all. So automatically our thought went to a name with a thinking that it is a female, right? And the third individual, no doubt, everybody I think would have named a female itself here, because we have said that it is a homemaker, and we are saying that it is a person with a beautiful long hair. And then I've just said that the person knows cooking well and also is very caring about children. And I really have no doubt that all of you, most of them, if you have named, would have named a female name here, right? But it doesn't mean that the first person can't be a female. The last one could have been a male also. But why did we give female names to the last and the male names to the first? So somewhere we have been imbibed with these thoughts that every individual of each gender have certain roles to play, and then they have to appear in some way. If we think that she is a female, then we think she has certain roles to play in the society, in the family. She has to take up certain professions, because when we are thinking of sending our children into higher studies, we always think of whether her education which she is taking will be able to, whether she'll be able to pursue her profession in that. Because I've seen many of the children, when once they pass their PU and they're going into higher education, especially in the field of engineering, there are subjects like aeronautical engineering, rocket science, and all that, where female takers are very less. Even parents, even if the children are interested in aerospace and all that, the family members think of the profession and then they say it would not be suitable for a female to take up that profession. Okay. And then there is sometimes there are male students who would like to take up fine arts, okay, and then this want to pursue their profession in dance, drama, and such things. Okay, so if you just look at the enrollment of these degrees, male students in such degrees in fine arts and performing arts is quite less when compared to those of female children. Okay, so how, and just think of how did we get into thinking that these are the roles and these are appearances which will suit the male or which will suit the female. And when did we get this and where did we get this? If we just give a thought towards this, we know that these gender inequalities or the discrimination which we make about the profession, about the thoughts, about the actions, about the behaviors of each genders, and where we are discriminating, are not biologically coming to us by birth. These are the discriminations which we are learning, okay, which we are learning through the society, we know education happens not only in schools. We get educated, we learn things, we learn how to interact with each other, how to behave with each other, okay, and how emotionally getting attached to each other. All this we learn not only in schools, we also learn them from our family and other family members. We learn them from our schools, from our teachers. We learn them from the community and also in the societal level. Okay, and how do we learn this informally? Informally, we also learn this through our religions, through the customs which we follow, through the traditions which we follow. And especially when it comes through our customs and traditions and the religion, we just accept it without questioning it. And most of us just think of ourselves, whether have we ever questioned why should a woman, especially when you consider a woman uh, who is into a profession like teaching, our B.Ed itself, once we ask students to go on internship, we give them a dress code and say women or girls are supposed to wear a sari. So we ourselves, and then no student questions that, they just accept it. Where is it said that the women who is in the teaching profession should wear a sari? Okay, so being teacher trainers, we ourselves imbibe these differentiating behaviors in our students, in teachers. And how do we expect those teachers to again perpetuate this among the students. So at this level where religious customs and traditions give us this discrimination, we are just accepting it without questioning it. And there are two fundamental aspects of our constitution which speaks about equality and about non-discrimination. These two constitutional fundamental rights of everybody itself is not adhered to when, but we are not thinking about it when we are practicing this gender discrimination and inequalities. Okay. Now, at present, gender inequality is truly becoming a global concern at the international level. Whether you take the studios with so-called developed country and the industry like the Hollywood industry, or if we think of even the houses of parliament, just if you look into the parliament house, even of our country or any other country for that matter, the people sitting there, if you see the parliament house, majority of them are men. Rarely we see women sitting there. Okay, and even in the classrooms, women and girls, we are still fighting for the equal rights, and also we are fighting for the chance to determine the shape of our or their future. Okay, because most of the times the girls especially are not able to even determine what they have to be in their future.
विद्यार्थी प्रतिनिधि माला माला क्या नाम है गेस्ट पर
No, I just request all of you to mute yourself because it's
विद्यार्थी प्रतिनिधि
Dr. Hanjigi, could you just mute yourself? Yeah. And then because of this gender inequality and the practices in the families, especially women or girls are denied equality in pursuing their careers. Okay, and then they are not able to exercise their personal freedom. And when we think of learning or the right to learn as a fundamental right, they are not able to even execute this fundamental right to learn. Now, before just we move on, I would like to present some global facts and figures which are a result of this gender discrimination. These facts prove to us that the girls and women everywhere in the world, whether it is a developed country or whether it is a developing country, whether it is a country which is technologically well versed or whether it is not, okay, women everywhere, if you look at these facts, you'll really feel that they really deserve a very better world to live in than in which they are existing today. Now, these facts show that though women are nearly 50% of the world's population, it is 49.6, which is quite half the population of the world. These are the facts which are taken in 2015. In 2015, not very long back, just 2 years back, when we look at the heads of the state in the entire world, there were only 21 female who were heading the states or the countries. And the women representation in the parliaments was just 23.7%. Though they are 50% of the population, only 23.7% women representation was seen in national parliaments. And then when we looked at different sectors of work, in 9 out of 17 sectors, it was found that men were earning 10% more than women when we took the average. Okay? Though they were doing the same job, they were showing the same results. Out of these, I don't say all the sectors, out of the 17 sectors that was surveyed, 9 sectors, it was seen that 10% of the women were earning less than men. And then just look at this. This is each minute. Every minute all over the world on this earth, 28 girls are being married off before they are of the right age to get married. Means there are around 750 million girls who are being married off before the age of 18, which is a legal age to get married. Okay? And then even the laws which enforce, if we look at the laws which are enforced in different countries, these laws also give the notion that a woman exists as a property of a man. For example, in Yemen, just see, even if the woman has to leave the house, she has to go out of the house, she's not supposed to go out without the permission of the husband. Okay, so a married woman, she cannot leave the house without taking the permission of the husband. Here we think that it is our right, but there are certain countries which do not allow this. And in 18 countries, for example, there is an example of Cameroon which is given here. Husbands, they can legally prevent their wives from working. Means they can deny even if the wife has the ability, has the competency, has the qualification to take up a certain job or a profession, if the husband doesn't want, legally he can prevent the wife from taking up that profession. And in 39 countries all over the world, daughters and sons do not have equal inheritance rights to inherit the property of the family. The daughters are not given the equal rights. Even in our country, very recently, we have got these rights, and earlier, even India had not given these rights to the daughters. Okay? Even today, in 39 countries, daughters don't have equal rights. And then in 49 countries, there are no laws, legal laws, to protect women from domestic violence. Okay? They have not found the laws, though there are 3 women who have, one out of 3 have experienced physical violence at some point of their time, and that too from a very intimate partner in their life. Okay, so if the United Nations gives some estimates, it estimates that up to 35% of women who are alive today have, just look at this, out of 100, 35 women would have in their lifetime at some time have experienced sexual or physical violence and abuse. And when we take the property owners, in the agricultural sector, there are only 13% of women who are owning agricultural land. Okay, out of 100, only 13. And this is not to say how much land they own. Whatever land, whether little they own, it is only 13% of the land which is owned by women, agricultural land. Okay, and then there are 36 countries which even limit the wives to take the husband's property. Okay, wives cannot inherit the husband's property. Okay, and then when we take the literacy level, 63 million girls are out of school. And then when we take the working sector, women earn between only 60 to 75% of the men's wages. Okay, means for the same type of job, for the same work, in 113 countries, they do not have laws which ensure equal pay for equal work among men and women. And there are 29 countries which restrict the hours women can work. Okay, they give the restriction and say women can work only from this time to this time. After certain time, maybe in the evenings, after a time of women are not allowed to work. And then there are 17 countries which give limits on travel of women outside home. Okay, they limit and say these are the hours which women can travel or move out of the house. There was a survey which was done in 2019 by Sport England. Okay, they surveyed around 130,000 children, and then look at the age group which they have surveyed. The age group they surveyed was 5 to 7 years, not even adolescents. They are children of 5 to 7 years. They surveyed around 130,000 girls. These girls were very less likely to take part in team sports. Though they wanted to take part, they wanted to be active in this field, they were not allowed to. Okay? So looking at all these facts and figures, we come to know that though the girls have the potential, it's only because of the way they are brought up, the way the thoughts which are imbibed in us. There is gender discrimination, and this gender discrimination is uh, really a rights violation for the female gender. Okay, so discrimination based on this gender is a common civil rights violation, we know, and this civil rights violation is taking a form in different ways if you look at it, even giving unequal pay, okay, and then discriminating men from women in employment and also in the education. Then this gender equality we know is a punishable offense, but in most of the countries it is not even treated to be punishable. Okay? So if we have to overcome this gender equality, the first thing or the first measure which we can take is to create a society which is gender sensitive. Instead of forcing laws, and then instead of trying to enact these laws and punish people for this practicing inequality or discrimination, if we are able to create a society and individuals who are gender sensitive, then I think that laws and everything can, this is the first thing which we can, what do we say, we can enforce instead of moving to the laws. Okay, so it's important through education that we make the parents and the teachers to make children become sensitive towards the other gender. It's not only the boys becoming sensitive towards the necessities of the girls, it is also the female becoming sensitive, or female knowing how to interact, female knowing what are the requirements of the male gender too. So it is making children, whether male or female, sensitive towards the opposite gender. Now, gender sensitization through education, this is a basic requirement towards becoming sensitive towards the any particular gender. Okay, how does this help? If we are making children or male or female gender sensitive, it helps us to examine our own personal attitudes and beliefs. It also leads us to question the realities that we thought we know about. So the need for the sensitivity has been felt, it has been realized. We know through immemorial times, and also across all the human civilizations which are existing on this globe, and especially the recent pandemic. If you look at the statistics, and even when we have seen the news channels, we have seen that domestic violence on women was very high during this pandemic period. So this recent pandemic has brought about the need to sensitize gender issues, because we have seen growing violence on women. So education is a potential, is one measure which has potential for being the catalyst for this change. Okay? It can bring about this change quite fast. So what is this gender sensitization? If we are taking up gender sensitization programs through education, what should we aim at? And then what is the meaning of this gender sensitization? Okay. So sensitization of gender is nothing about bringing about awareness, informed inclination. Okay. Inclination to what? Inclination to behave in a manner which is sensitive to gender justice and gender equality issues. Okay. So this is what is gender sensitization. It means we behave in some way which is gender having gender equality. This behavior is because of an awareness which we have about it. Okay, so this gender sensitization program is nothing but a process of a behavioral change, and this behavioral change is by instilling empathy into the views that people hold about their own gender and about the other gender. And we know the Constitution of India provides for equality of status and opportunity to all the citizens of the country, irrespective of the gender. So why is this gender sensitization program to be taken up in schools and through the educational curriculum? Because first thing, by this gender sensitization programs, we can bring in an awareness about the knowledge of laws relating to the women. Okay, and this is crucial for balanced development of the young minds. If the children goes through these gender sensitization education program, there is a balanced development. And then why do we say there is a balanced development? Because it builds appropriate values, it brings self-discipline and the right spirit towards the other gender. These gender sensitization programs make people aware of ways in which gender and gender related terminology are socially constructed. This statement is, there are certain words which we have to emphasize on here. See, the word gender itself, we think that we know the meaning of gender, but so through these programs we have to create an awareness about certain terminologies which are related to this gender, and then we should also know that these terminologies and the concepts we build about gender is socially constructed. It is not biological constructed, it is socially constructed. So this will facilitate these gender sensitization programs will facilitate in inculcating certain values of equality, inclusivity. Inclusivity means that knowing that I don't say that both male and female are equal in all the terms and they are the same. They are different, because we know whether it is a male or a female, even one female differs from the other female, one male differs from the other male. Every individual has different abilities, they have different interests, they have different needs. We know as teachers especially, we know how diverse student population are, and then no individual boy is same as the other boy who sits next to him in the class. When we accept this diversity in between the same gender, why not accept that diversity with the other gender? Okay, so we have to respect the diversity, and then we have to have an inclusive environment in our schools, and also think of building this inclusive environment in the society and the community around us. So this is the aim of gender sensitization programs in school education, where we are thinking of creative and inclusive school. Inclusive school is not just for specially able children. Inclusive schools also cater to diversity in between the gender too. Okay, and also meeting the requirements of both the genders. So this is very essential for building a healthy society among the boys and girls, and also among the men and women. If this is done, most of the evils which are found in the society today, I think, will be eradicated. Now, sensitizing people about curbing these gender biases prevailing in society, if we sensitize them, okay, automatically this gender bias will be curbed. If the gender bias is curbed, then we will be able to empower the girls and women so that they will be able to develop to the fullest potential and also achieve their goals. Now we know there are different agencies of education. When we think about gender sensitization through education, we will also have to think about different agencies of education. And we know there are formal agencies and also informal agencies of education. So these formal agencies are nothing but the schools, the training institutions, the colleges, the universities, and the teachers and the other personnel who are working in these schools are also part of this formal agency of education. And also the curriculum also forms the formal agency through which gender sensitization can be brought in. There are other informal agencies of education which the children will experience. That is the family, the community, and the state. They also take part in social gatherings. So even social gatherings act as agencies for this gender sensitization education. Different playgrounds or crowds, marketplaces, cinema houses, fairs, okay, and then different associations and exhibitions, religious ceremonies where children may take part. And then we have the different forms of the media, mass media, and we know how much role mass media and internet can influence children today. Newspaper, radio, television, the internet, and the other public meetings through which children can go through, or field trips, etc. These all form informal agencies of education. Okay? Now, as an agency of education, if we look at media, okay, we know how powerful media is today. We know if we just look at an advertisement, even if we do not want, do not want a product, after looking at the advertisement, they pursue us so much that even if we don't want the product, we feel that feel thinking that maybe we can't lead a life without that product. So powerful media can be on our minds. Okay, so UNESCO in its report in 2009, it feared that given the current rate at which stereotyping of women is taking place, means how much stereotyping is taking place about the roles of women, about the appearances of the women, about the dress code for women, about the way, even the language part, if we take the language a man uses and the language a woman is permitted to use is quite different. Okay, they say being a girl, you are not supposed to use this language. Being a woman, you are not supposed to act in such a way. Okay, so such stereotyping of women at this current rate, it says even if we bring in all these programs, it would take at least 75 years to bring in gender equality in the media itself. Okay, so mere reporting, till now we saw facts, figures and all that. So just looking at these mere facts and figures, this will not much help in bridging these gender differences. But media has to take a very proactive role in inculcating gender sensitivity so that it also ensures that the potentialities of women can be developed. Now, through formal education, we always say that whatever thing we have to bring a change in society, education can play a very important role. So if we have to change the mindsets of individuals, if we have to sensitize them, education, formal education through our curriculum, through our teachers, we can bring in these changes. We can also introduce and sensitize both girls and boys towards the existing gender inequalities. So if we are looking at gender sensitization programs and aiming at sensitizing children towards the opposite gender, the first thing is they have to understand what are the inequalities. Most of the times, though we look at it, we don't realize that there is an inequality shown here. Okay, so what are the existing gender inequalities that has to be introduced to both boys and girls? And then a formal education should also address issues relating to both the attitude as well as the behavior. Once there are attitudinal changes brought in, automatically behaviors will change. So we have to address issues relating change in attitude, okay, and behaviors towards prevention of gender-based violence. Okay, and awareness. When we create awareness, this will bring in the ability to also bring attitudinal change towards this gender-based violence. Now, if we are devising a gender sensitization program or developing a program, what can the objectives of such an education program be? Okay? So the objectives of such a program is, first, it will be aimed at increasing the understanding of the concept of gender. I told you there is a difference between just saying that it is a boy or a girl biologically and understanding the concept of socially constructed concept of gender. So understanding this concept, and also by clarifying the difference between these two words or the terms, that is the sex and gender. Then the second objective of such an education program will be to understand the consequence of different behavior for a girl or a woman or a boy or a man. What will be the consequence if you behave differently towards a boy and a girl? The consequence in terms of the development of the individual, the consequence in terms of the contribution that individual can give. Though they have the potentials, what way they can contribute to the nation building would be different because of this different discriminating behavior. Okay, and the other objective is to make them understand how gender roles lead to gender division of labor. Gender roles, we know what are gender roles: expecting a girl to play certain roles, expecting a boy to play certain roles. There is a differentiation in the roles they play. Okay, if you just think of and say some individual is aggressive, automatically we will think of a male in that particular position. And then we think of somebody who is very caring and somebody who is very mild, somebody who is very emotional. We always think of a female figure there. Okay, so this gender roles. And then we also just look at a certain, I have seen young boys at home asking the father not to cook, and then if they see their friends crying, automatically they say, and then they say, oh, he's crying like a girl. Okay, so such things. It's not that boys cannot be emotional. Boys can be emotional, and I've seen children of a very young age, like 6 to 7 years or 8 years, if they see their friends, boys especially, watching a movie and then crying, they automatically say, being a boy, you should never cry, especially watching a movie. Okay, so these gender roles and gender role expectations, what we have, can create gender division of the labor also, or gender division of the professions they can take up after they grow up. And another objective of this program, which aims at gender sensitization, is to understand gender discrimination, which is based on stereotyping. Okay, stereotyping of the male and the female qualities. Just now I told you it is the qualities which we think of: being caring, being emotional, and all that. And then the opposite, where we think a person can be angry, which can be aggressive, which can be adventurous, a person who can take risks in life, a person can make decisions in life. Okay, when we think of such qualities, we can categorize and say that these are the female qualities and these are the male qualities. Such a stereotyping should be removed, because that also will lead to gender discrimination. So this stereotyping has to be understood by these children, and should try to eliminate these gender stereotypes. Okay, to learn about another objective is to make them learn about stereotypes and consider whether these gender stereotypes are fair or and unfair. Okay, if somebody is making these stereotyping in the society or in the family, so they should be able to think whether such stereotyping of qualities and roles and behaviors are fair, or whether they are unfair to make these things. Okay, and then we know most of the societies are patriarchal societies, and this itself is one cause for gender inequality. So gender sensitization programs also should aim at making them understand the concept of patriarchy, and how what it has to do with when we are thinking about creating a society which is gender which will have gender equality. Okay, and then the other objective is to make them acquire knowledge and skills. Two things: knowledge is one thing, awareness is a at superficial level, knowledge is at a higher level than that. Then after that, the skills, the awareness, then knowledge, then the skills which are necessary for advancing gender equality in their daily life and also in their workplace. And then these programs also explain how gender equality is a condition that is beneficial for both women and men. This is one thing which is to be concentrated on. Bringing in gender equality is not only good for women. Bringing this gender equality is good for both, or even beneficial for both women as well as men. Now, our education system needs to be gender sensitive and also gender friendly. Okay. So one of the best possible strategies is to minimize gender discrimination in society, is to promote these gender awareness at all levels of the society, and that education can do. Okay. So what are the gender issues in homes? Because we just spoke about the different agencies of education. Education here, we are not looking at only the formal education system. Education is even the informal learning, the non-formal and the formal learning which a child can go through, or any individual born in the society can go through. So gender issues at home, if we look at, we have to think of promoting gender awareness in parents. Okay? This can happen by school parent partnership, which needs to be strengthened to identify gender issues in homes. There are a lot of gender issues if you look at homes. Okay, especially when we see the rural areas, even in urban areas also, and even in the educated families, if you look at, there are these gender discrimination issues. Think of a small thing of buying a toy at a very young, even at the infant stage. Okay, a 1 year or 2 year child, when it is given a toy, the toys which parents buy for a girl, the toys which parents buy for a boy is quite different. Okay, and then if the children are playing, if the I have seen parents speak like, if the girl breaks up the toy, if the boy opens up the toy, they are very happy. They say, oh, he's going to become an engineer. He's analyzing everything, and then he's breaking up the toy and trying to find out what are the parts of the particular toy. But if the girl does that, they are not happy with it. Okay, so this is how gender issues start even at a very young age. Okay, and then once they come out into the society, and once they come to the school, the way even teachers also in schools assign activities to these children. Okay, if it is going out and then into the field work and they're giving projects, that is assigned to a boy. Okay, and something like lifting something or repairing something, okay, such things are given to the boys. And even at homes, if they have to go out to the market and buy something, it is the boys which go out. And if it is the cleaning job at home, it is the girls who are assigned. Okay, so all these small gender issues should be addressed to even in homes. Okay, and then promoting of girls education, especially in rural areas, and how even NGOs can take up awareness training and also counseling for even parents in rural areas also. uh, this is how gender issues can be addressed in homes. And then parents should be advised to treat both their sons and daughters as equals. Okay, nowhere, if you just look at singing, okay, does nature prepare something different for the girl or different for the boy? It is no. Girls can also sing, boys can also sing. Okay, and then lifting something or taking up an adventurous activity, even girls can do, even boys can do. But still, socially, we are constructing these different attitudes in both boys and girls, and we are saying, okay, something adventurous you are doing, then girls are not allowed to go out, and after certain particular time, girls are not supposed to go out. And even when you are watching something on movie films and all that, girls are supposed to watch one type of movie and boys are supposed to watch uh, certain types of movies. Okay, this is what we are differentiating. This is not to be done by the parents, and both sons and daughters are to be treated as equally. Okay, and instead of, and many a times we have also seen that girls are taught, especially girls, are taught to behave properly, taught to talk in certain ways, taught to sit in certain ways at home. Okay, but these restrictions are not there on a boy at home. Okay, and girls are taught like when they are sitting in a crowd. Okay, the way they sit, the way they talk, the way they move, even the way they hold their clothes. Okay, all these behavior are taught to the girls but not to the boys. Okay, so such indiscrimination should not be done, okay, at home. Both have to be treated equally when they grow up. So children should grow up even looking at the elders in the family also, they learn. Okay, and then they will have to create an environment where men respect even the women in the family, and women in the family should also be allowed to take decisions at home. Okay, and then they should be kept informed at home. Many a times we see, especially in the Indian families, women are in joint families especially, don't know many things what is happening in the home itself. They are not kept informed. Okay, so this also has an impact on children who are growing up. So the environment created at homes also. Then even in the family, they should be directed to stop telling the young girls that they have to learn cooking, and then when they grow up, they'll have to move to a different family. Okay? And then if we even see it's the girls who are always told to adjust and not the boys. And if there is a fight between the siblings, whether the brother and the sister, okay, girls are always asked to adjust. Girls are always first asked to stop fighting. Okay, they say he is a boy, you have to be mild, and then you will have to adjust to your brother. This is how they are taught. Okay, so such things should not be created in the homes. Okay, because we imbibe these attitudes and values in children, and even when they grow up, women stop questioning all these practices which happen in society. This is not to be done. Okay, so they have to be given choice of freedom equally, whether it is a male or a female sibling. Now, gender sensitivity in schools, if we look at, we know schools, they, especially in teaching children etiquette and manners, schools play a very important role. So teachers have to aim at creating a gender responsive school. What do we mean by when we use this word creating a gender responsive school? Which is a school which is said to be gender responsive? Okay, a gender responsive school is one in which the environment, whether it is the academic environment, the social and the physical environment, and even the surrounding community around the school, takes into account the specific needs of both the girls as well as the boys. Okay, keeping in mind the needs of the girls as well as the needs of the boys, we are trying to create. Just look at this. It's not only the physical environment we are aiming at creating according to the needs. It is even the academic environment, and it is also the social environment. Academic environment, we mean the methodology which we follow in the class when we are teaching, the activities which we are assigning to both the boys and the girls when they are taking up an academic activity. Okay, and the behavior of the teachers to both boys and girls in the class. Okay, all these will contribute to something what we call a gender responsive academic, social and physical environment to be created in the school. So first of all, teachers have to be trained for this. So action plan with a definite roadmap is required in the school curriculum if we have to achieve the gender equality in schools, and also if we have to create a gender sensitive and gender responsive school. Now, gender sensitivity among teachers, if we think of, we know teachers have a very, what do we say, important role in upbringing of every child. More than the parents, the teachers are the ones who are spending time with the children. Now, so the ideas and beliefs of the teachers themselves can change the thought process in teachers have, if we have to think of bringing sensitization in young children. The children, we know, are just in the formative years, and we can easily nurture their values, and we can teach virtues of these gender sensitivity very easily for these children. So gender sensitivity training, this should be made mandatory for teachers. Teachers are not undergoing this gender sensitivity training, whether we look at the pre-service training or the in-service training given to them, they have not undergone this training. Okay? So this training should enable them to disseminate the desirable attitude based on mutual respect and trust between boys and girls. So first, the teachers have to undergo this gender sensitivity training. And then we see sometimes the teachers make remarks about the capabilities and characteristics of either gender. So such remarks also can have an effect on this gender sensitization of children. So we need to cope up with the knowledge, the attitude, and the skills, and also the methodologies which we adopt that can promote gender equality through our learning experiences which we give to the children in the school. Now, this lack of gender sensitization among youth is a very much of concern which is being taken up by the NCERT, CBSE, and the National Commission for Women. Now, CBSE has developed a kit on gender sensitivity for teachers. It is available online. If you have interest, you can just download this kit also. This is to ensure that unbiased participation of both boys and girls can be brought about in the learning process. If you, out of interest, you can download this. If you just go through it, it is a very interesting kit. And then you can see how small words and then small behaviors which we unknowingly adopt in schools also can impact the boys and girls. So through that also we can make changes. Okay. Now teachers should be able to first identify the existing gender biased attitudes and behavior among parents and students. Okay? Only when we identify where gender bias is going on, then we can think of making a change or bringing a change in that attitude. So we have to first identify where these existing gender biased attitudes are and behaviors are, then develop pedagogical processes or methodologies of transaction which are gender sensitive. First of all, teachers themselves should leave behind these prejudices and bias once they enter into the classroom. And then when they're adopting the learning activities, they should foster an environment in the classroom which is gender sensitive. Okay? If you go through these this kit which is there for teachers, it shows how classroom environment which is gender sensitive can be created, and how we are not adopting these what is this gender sensitization in our learning activities or in the behaviors of the teachers, how we are making such errors at present. That also is being shown in this thing. Now, what do we understand by this word gender sensitive classrooms? Okay. When we say classrooms have to be gender sensitive, there are certain do's and don'ts, okay, in the classroom interaction. The first thing is encouraging both males and females to be class leaders. Okay, when we make a group and then assign the leadership, we have seen, especially we ourselves do this error when we are sending students on internship, or when we are sending them outside for some field activity. We ourselves make an error that we tend to always make male leaders. And then I have seen, like, the girl students can be, most of us make them into deputy leaders, even if we are supposed to give a leadership. But most of them are males, if we that comes to our mind, and then we think that maybe they can take up more leadership roles, okay, and then the others in the group will listen to them more. That is what we think when we are assigning leadership. Okay, so this should not be done. Both of them should be assigned and encouraged to take up leadership activities equally. And then while addressing both girls and boys and speaking to them, they have to be treated equally. And then in the classroom, they should not be segregated into and then made into different groups and say this group or this assignment is for the boys and this assignment is for the girls. Okay, so that segregation we have to do away with it in the primary classes especially. And then mixed groups have to be created when we are assigning group activities and games. Thinking of sports and games, it's always that we all differentiate them. Okay, and that should not be done. And then we have to switch over the role for breaking down gender barriers and stereotyping of gender roles. Stereotyping should be first avoided when we come to assigning roles in the activities in schools. Okay, so making both boys and girls share activities, like maybe even small activities when we think of, like moving the furniture, okay, and then cleaning and all that. Both of them should be equally assigned work. And then planning and conducting activities, when we are giving opportunity, it should be, both of them should be treated equally. And when we think of the curriculum and the textbooks, okay, the content which we include in our lessons should be gender sensitive. Okay, what happens? These genders, the content which is there in our lessons and the textbooks and the moral traditions, they will unconsciously mount the character of those young minds. Okay, for example, now we are taking up activities to NCRTs, also trying to bring in create gender sensitive textbooks. Like earlier books, if you have seen, when they are showing the mother, if the picture is shown, normally it is the mother who is doing the cooking, and the father in the house is shown as to sit and read the newspaper. Okay, or the father is shown as though he is going off to work, and it is the mother who is cooking and giving him making the children ready and all that. Okay, so this reversal of the roles is done in most of the textbooks nowadays. Even the mother is shown to sit and read the newspaper at home. Okay, father is shown as to cook at home. Okay, so we unknowingly sometimes we are, if we are introducing such pictures, and then you, even in mathematics, when we are giving mathematical problems, if you see that something like when we are teaching addition and subtraction to children, okay, like when we are suppose I give you one small statement problem, we have these statement problems which teach addition to children. Okay, and then unknowingly, when it, suppose say that the mother is giving you 2 chapatis, and one chapati is already in your plate, and the mother gives you 2 more chapatis. Okay, so how many chapatis you have? It is 3. See there, unknowingly we are always adding the name of a female there, or we loan, interest and all that. There we are including the names of only male, and then we are saying like Satish goes to a bank, and then he takes an loan. If the interest is of 2%, then at the end of that year, what is the percentage of interest, simple interest which is added? Okay, so such statement problems also, when we knowingly are not doing it, but our generation, I think, is imbibed with these behaviors and thoughts and ideas, where when we are thinking of activities here, it's only a problem on addition and subtraction, or it is a mathematical problem, and we don't think of bringing in gender sensitization or gender equality here. We are not thinking of stereotyping the roles here, but still somewhere children are molded unconsciously to think that these are the roles women have to play and these are the roles men have to play. That we are doing unconsciously. Okay, so even the academic content and the lessons which we are giving to these children have to think of making it we have to think of making it gender sensitive. So we have to transform the text reading materials and books. Okay, and then we should make it free of these gender discrimination, and then bring in the notion of gender equality, okay, in the textbooks and lessons also. And the government, as I told you, has started taking initiatives into this, and then it has trying to change the NCRT is trying to change the textbooks it has, and then is trying to bring in these gender concerns into the curriculum and the textbooks also. Now, there is another booklet which is brought about by National Commission for Women in 2020. This is a gender sensitization booklet. This booklet also is a very good manual-like. This is for gender sensitization and legal awareness program, and this is in collaboration with CBSE, NCRT, and all that. This is brought about for class 11th and 12th all over India. Okay? This is also freely available online. You can just search for this National Commission for Women Gender Sensitization booklet. If you just go through this booklet, you will understand how we are unconsciously developing this gender discrimination and stereotyping in children. Okay? And then how we can try to do away with all that, and then make changes in our methodology of teaching and in our way of behavior in the schools as teachers. So this booklet also creates an awareness. So this is gender sensitization booklet brought about in 2020 by National Commission for Women in India. I think I will not go with this. So here, what I would just like to summarize here is that gender is not anatomical or physiological. Okay, it is only this male and female is only a biological difference. So the word meaning of the word sex and gender only differ. The gender, this concept is learnt. Okay, they are learnt to be girls. They are learned to grow up into boys, women and men. Okay, we teach them what is appropriate behavior, attitude, role, what is appropriate activity for a boy, what is appropriate activity for a girl. We also teach them that to identify themselves with their gender. We teach them to identify and take up their different gender roles. So this even gender roles and gender identity also is a learned behavior. It has not come biologically to either a male or a female. Okay, so gender refers to the learned roles, the norms and expectations on the basis of one's sex, whether you are a boy and girl. Based on that, what is the gender role, what is the gender norm, what is the gender expectation, what is the gender identity, this is learned. Okay, so gender is a socio-cultural definition of a boy or a girl or of a man and a woman. Not only their responsibilities are set by society, but also the norms and the values, the dress codes for a man and a woman or a boy or a girl, the attitudes, the opportunities which you can take up in the society, the rights which a man or a boy has, or the rights which a girl or a woman has, the mobility aspect for a man and a woman, the freedom of expression, the priorities you can make in your life. Okay, and especially speaking of these priorities, women always make family a priority than their own interests. Okay, this and the goals they set up in their life, okay, to what they have to become in the society, all these are learned. So gender is a social construct or a concept. It is learnt and it keeps changing. Okay, it's dynamic and changeable, and also it differs within and between cultures. And this gender is not, and the norms, okay, and the roles expected is not same in all the cultures. In every culture, it is different. So it is a gender is a learned construct. That is what I just want to say. Now there is one small activity here. If you just see, there are lists of the first column is a list of articles, the second column is a list of activities, and the third column is a list of roles. If you would associate a male or a female here, I will just read out the articles here. To whom will you associate this automatically? Okay, when I say car keys, a bike, you see, a screwdriver, a stove, a tie, paste powder, broom. When you see these articles, how our mental, what do you say, the construct is that we automatically associate certain articles with a male member of the society, and things like stove, things like face powder, things like broom, these are associated with the female character. Okay, and activities here like washing clothes, reading newspaper, cooking, bathing children, fixing an electric bulb, rowing the boat, sweeping. Not that a man cannot do all this work, not that female cannot do all this. Both male, both female can do all these activities, but still we think certain activities here can be done better by a woman. Certain activities can be done better by a man. I'll give you an example of my own house. When I wash clothes or clean the utensils, though I go out to work, my husband does it. But when I'm at home, okay, if I ask him to help me, he uses this statement. He says, "You are better at cleaning utensils. You clean better than me." Okay, I always say, I have not gone learning all this. Okay, I too have learned this after I have got married, after I have come into the family. That has not taken me more time. I have learned cooking after my marriage. If I can do that, you can also do that. Okay, you can also learn cooking. You can also clean utensils as well as I clean, right? But this gender role attitude, what we say, and this stereotyping of genders, the activities which they think that the women can sweep very well, the women can clean the house very well, okay? Whereas the man can't do these activities. Tell me something purchasing from outside, I will do it. Okay, why women can't go out and purchase things? Women also can plan, women also can write, women also can go out and purchase things. Women also, though they earn, they can buy their own property. They can also take decisions on where to invest their own earned money. Many families, in especially where I've seen, though they earn, maybe they earn more than the men folk at home, but where the girl or the women have to invest their earned money, the decision is taken by the male member of the family. Okay, even the earnings of the women is invested by the man. Okay, so these activities, this attitude, this behaviors, okay, have to change if we think of gender equality. Okay, and thinking of these roles, okay, these are certain professions or the workplaces which we are it is indicating. The third column, you see a chef. We say women are better cooks, but you see who are chefs who are taking up these jobs and earning, it is a male. Okay, a tailor, a head of the family, the breadwinner. See these terms: a pilot, a nurse, a barber, a politician, a plumber. Okay, as soon as we see this, we get a male figure in our mind, we get a female figure in our mind. Okay, so this has to go first. Now, speaking about gender roles here, so there are certain sets of behavior or roles and responsibilities we attribute to a women and also men. Okay, so culture defines, our traditions define which is appropriate for a man, which is appropriate for a woman. And we, even if we look at our culture and certain proverbs, there are certain proverbs. If most of you I heard understand Kannada, so I will just tell you one proverb which says that ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ತಾಳ್ಮೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. Means women should be mild, okay, you should be patient, but men need not be patient because he is a boy. Okay, he can but as a girl you have to remain patient. Proverbs teach us this. Okay, and then there's another proverb which says udyogam purusha lakshanam. Okay, and being a man, you are not supposed to stay at home. Okay, I've seen families where women were earning more than the man. Women are qualified more than the man in the family, but when it comes to taking care of children, women leave their jobs and stay at home. Even though the man is less qualified and earns less, the man pursues his career, the man pursues his job, and the woman is the one who will leave her job, okay, though she has more capabilities. So this gender role and responsibilities attributing to women and men, and whatever comes to us by culture, we don't question. Whatever comes to us by traditions, we don't question. We just accept it and say, this is our culture, we have to follow it. Okay, so this has to change first. So our cultural beliefs, they reinforce certain acceptable behavior to the male and the female. This includes what we do, what we like, and how we should behave. Okay? And we have, when we are speaking about agencies of education, we know education has a important role of socializing the child. Okay, it's not only the content transmission, socialization of the child is a very important responsibility of our education system. And we have different socializing agencies or agents They are the parents, the teachers, the peers, the religious leaders, and even the media. Okay, these are all the socializing agents which take a role. So these gender roles are reinforced. I'm using this word reinforced because most of the times certain acceptable roles are positively reinforced, certain not acceptable roles as per the culture, as per the tradition, are negatively reinforced, and we make them not to follow it. Okay, at various levels of the societies, they imbibe the norms and values through this socialization process. Okay, so these what values and norms which we imbibe in children, they become deeply rooted. Gender roles can change over time since social values and norms are not static. Okay, but as teachers, as adults of the society, we have to question ourselves. Why do we associate certain activities, certain roles to girls and women, and why certain to boys and men? Why are we associating this? That is the first thought we have to give to. And then activities that do not have any biological basis and yet are only performed by either the men or either only the women. Why do we expect this? Because there is no biological basis for this, but sociologically, why is this constructed? Okay, when we think of this, we move into another concept called stereotyping. I think with this slide a little fast I am here because I will have to end here. I read the statements, just try to think of this, whether it is true or false. Were you ever in your life asked to behave like a girl or a woman or a boy or a woman, man? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನ್ ಹುಡುಗನ್ ತರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡು ಅಥವಾ ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ದೆನ್ think of different occasions or people who have asked you to behave in a stereotype behavior. ಯಾರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನೀನು ಇದೇ ತರ ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡು, ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಯಾವ ಒಕೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಈ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ದೆನ್ ನೋಟ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ಲಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ನಾನ್ ಹುಡುಗ ಆಗಿ ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ಹುಡುಗಿ ತರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ತಪ್ಪು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಬಾಯ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿಹೇವ್ಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಗರ್ಲ್, ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಬಟ್ if somebody has told you that, or when sometime you have felt that you have acted like a girl, or being a girl you have felt that you have acted as a boy. I have seen nowadays if girls are riding a Royal Enfield bike, okay, people standing on the road say, just turn back and look at the girl and say, oh, she's riding a Enfield bike. Okay, so this is gender stereotyping, so I will not just go into all this. So these statements, just look into this. Women are to be polite, accommodative, and nurturing, whether it is true or false, whether you agree with it or not. Men are generally expected to be strong, aggressive, and bold. Women are bad drivers anta tumba jana I have heard saying this. Do you agree with this or not? Men can't look after children. Do you agree or do not agree? Adu true false gina agree disagree hakoli alli. Women are better caregivers, men are stronger. Then male stereotyping here is always thinks of male as provider, protector, and procreator. Okay, here in stereotyping, just look at this. Even the colors are stereotyped. When we think of buying something with the pink or something with the blue, pink is always associated with a girl. Okay, I don't see men buying something with the pink, very rare it is. Okay, and then thinking of flowers, thinking of race cars, thinking of being logical, thinking of expressing anger, and then when we think of a nursery teacher, when we think of a firefighter, okay, whom do you associate here, girl or a boy? And the other column you will have to just say whether it is biological or whether it is socially constructed one. Okay, why, when you say it is for a boy, then why can't a woman work in this? Okay, our system, society, we know is a patriarchal society, and this patriarchy especially I would just like to end here saying that women and men both should be educated about women's right and rights which are provided in the constitution, and then our education should result in changing the regressive social norms which are perpetuating the inequalities of the genders, and then women should have equal access to family assets, properties, loans, credits, and should get equal opportunities in all type of public activities, and then there should be a change brought in the mindsets of individuals who devalue the girls in the society. Devalue doesn't mean something derogatory. Devalue means something where a girl is potential of doing it, and then the society brings her down though she has the potential, considering them being inferior, considering them not to take in, involving them in taking decisions at home or choosing her own life partner. Okay? And then also education should result in bringing about right to work and also earn for a living for both the genders. And being assertive is one important character which girls have to be taught. They have to assert themselves and claim their rights and freedom. Okay? So I think with this, I would like to end by just concluding that today's women and girls, they really deserve a better world to live in, which is a gender just society. Okay? And this is one saying I saw on one some protest there, and then a movement for creating gender equality. They had written this. They said, "जब बेटी को दी जगह दिल में, okay, फिर बेटी क्यों नहीं है विल में?" Okay? Means when they are making a will, most of the Indian parents always think of they think that it is the boy who will carry the name of the family forward. So this is what was the saying where there was a movement on equal property rights for girls also. They had written this: "जब बेटी को दी जगह दिल में, फिर बेटी क्यों नहीं है विल में." I think that it looked interesting to me, so that I tried to incorporate here. And one more thing here, when we are thinking of an inclusive society, we know one size will not fit all. Okay? So the society or the classrooms or the which we create as teachers or adults in the society should think of adjusting the environment to each and every individual's need, whether be it a male or be it a female. Okay? I think with this, I would like to conclude. I hope spending this much of time with all of you, I think at least an ounce of change, if I am able to bring in, and you as teachers, where you feel that this gender sensitization has to be brought about in your students, because they are going to be the future citizens of the society. Okay? If we can bring about that change in our children in our schools and colleges, I think we will be able to create a better society for both man and women to live in. Okay? Yeah. I think any clarifications if you need. Okay. Shall I just end? Yeah, thanks to all of you.